Hello, I'm Valerie Wise, a certified biblical life and marriage coach and licensed clinical social worker and addictions counselor. As a life coach and solution focused psychotherapist, my goal is to help people realize that they only require a 2-degree shift in achieving their life's goals. I enjoy helping people see that they can be a part of that 5% who see possibilities for positive change versus the 95% who do not. And it's with that aim and with that focus that I share God's plan for physical and mental health. Let's talk about what God's plan is. Well, it is a plan that's available to all of us. It does not require an act of Congress, nor does it reject anyone with pre existing conditions. It's not represented by high paid lobbyists who are representing special interest groups. Instead, it's something that God has created for us from the very beginning of time. We read in 3 John 2, Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospers. So God has a vested interest in all of mankind, and he really wants us to experience the very best that it's possible to experience while living on this earth. The top 10 most common public health issues that confront many of us in the United States are led by physical activity and nutrition, and that is a decline in physical activity and poor nutrition. And number 2, being overweight and or obese. Then that's followed by tobacco use, substance use, HIV, AIDS, mental health, injury and violence, environmental quality, immunizations, and access to health care. This last issue is probably most critical for far too many Americans who find themselves either underinsured or not able to afford insurance at all. So God's plan is inclusive, and it allows everyone to get the benefits of what he wants for all of us. So what is God's plan? G starts for godly trust. O, open air. D, daily exercise. S, sunshine. P, plenty of rest. L, lots of water. A, always temperate. And N, nutrition. So let's cover and talk about godly trust. Why should we trust God? We read earlier about his interest in mankind, and in Psalm 8:2, we see, what is man that thou art mindful of him, and the Son of Man that thou visitest him? For thou hast made him a little lower than the angels, and hast crowned him with glory and honor. Everything that God has given to us shows his special interest and love for mankind. We should trust him because he is our creator. We read in Genesis 1:27, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female, he created them. He gives us a plan for living, and we see that in Genesis 1:29. And God said, see, I have given you every herb that yields seed, which is on the face of all the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed, to you it shall be for food. In Genesis 2:9, and out of the ground the Lord God made every tree grow that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The original diet was fruit, nuts, and seeds. But let's look at some of those in our society who actually agree with this original plan. If we look at the American Cancer Society, there's emphasis now on plant foods, eating more plant foods. American Heart Association, their recommendations are to eat more fruits and vegetables. The Stroke Recovery Foundation, stroke prevention includes high fiber in the diet, fruits, and vegetables. And then the American Diabetes Association encourages consumption of nuts, whole grains, beans, dark greens, and leafy vegetables. So we can see that there are many in our culture, many groups in the culture that encourage to take advantage of God's plan. So remember, it's accessible to everyone. Health professionals from different disciplines agree with the ideas set forth first in the Bible. And if they can do it, so can you. Now we'll go to open air. Can fresh air help you stay healthy? The answer is a resounding yes. Open air gives us vitamin O2, oxygen. Air is the breath of life. We read in Genesis 2:7, and the Lord God formed man out of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being. So we see that air, oxygen, allows us to live. And God created the earth so that man, animals, and plants can coexist together. Trees and plants give off oxygen rather, and man expires carbon dioxide. So when plants and trees and that are in our environment, we're able to get oxygen, and then the carbon dioxide from man helps the plants, the vegetation to flourish. And this ultimately also helps animals that benefit from eating the plants. So it's a reciprocal, beneficial environment and system that God created from the very beginning. But we see that with sin, things change. So we have now what's called air pollution. And that is a cause of many major health problems. Sore throats, coughing and itching, nausea, dizziness, feelings of exhaustion are just some of the problems that exist when the air is polluted. Then you have air pollutants in the home, and that can come from tobacco smoking, formaldehyde from carpeting, cleaning products, dust, air mites, molds, the list goes on. So it's important for us to create an environment that allows us to get as much fresh oxygen as is possible. Even though it's very cold outside, it's not a bad idea to just allow a little air to flow through the rooms when you're sleeping, to get that fresh air and that cross ventilation. It helps you get a more restful sleep, and it helps you to be more refreshed when you awaken. So air, oxygen, helps us. It supports the trillions of cells in our body. Well oxygenated cells improve our overall well-being. Deep breathing is good for general health. It keeps keeping plants in the house to promote fresh air and to consume the pollutants that are toxic to human beings creates a very healthy environment for us all. And it's important for us to practice deep breathing. Several deep breaths during the day energizes and relaxes us. So keep breathing. That ends our talk for today. Tomorrow, stay tuned as we talk about daily exercise and sunshine.